am looking like switch my wig, make him feel like he cheating. It's giving pink salmon on the forehead. Alright, so let's just take care of the announcements. First of all, I'm gonna keep reminding y'all every day my birthday is April 19th is coming up. Also, I'm gonna put on an EP on my birthday. I think that it's time. It's time. It's only 3 songs though. It's just like a mini EP. Now, the patrons already know this shit, but if you want some sneak peeks at what I'm doing, make sure you go to patreon.com/AdrianExpression. I'm talking about cover art, track list, all that shit. Like, I'm gonna give the patrons a song early before the shit comes out. Like, girl, just get into it. Podcast episode already up. Like, bitch, I'm coming. I'm coming! As usual, like all my music is, this is for the gays. This EP is for the gays. We're gonna be twerking this summer, okay? I wanna give y'all a couple songs for you to get your life. It's gonna happen. So yeah, I think that's it for the announcements. Falcon and the Winter Soldier spoilers in 3, 2, 1. This picture is beautiful. This is something that gives me so much life, joy, positivity. I'm invigorated anytime I see this picture literally make its way, dance its way across my goddamn timeline. They took out, like I said, Captain Underpantz, Captain Shook, not Captain Hook, Captain Shook, because that's exactly what the hell he was when the Dora Milaje came knocking on his goddamn forehead, bitch. Dora, 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 they gonna destroy ya. Like, ma'am, they came in there and said, hey, well, guess what? Understand this. Understand this. This vibranium that you hoes, you know, running around here, this frisbee ass disc that your ass is throwing around, bitch, we gonna take this whole, we could take this whole back. Matter of fact, when they were standing there with that shit, I was like, ma'am, you need to take this shit back to Wakanda. These girls are acting crazy out here. You need to take your shit back. Oh my gosh, and he was so pressed, he was so mad. Oh my God, they weren't even super soldiers. Yeah, they weren't, and they got your ass out of here. They got your ass out of here. And now the fanboys, I feel like y'all know who I'm talking about, the type of fanboys I'm talking about. They were so mad at them darkies. How dare you darkies come in here and take Bucky's arm off? That's such a violation of trust. They're breaking, Bucky was breaking Zemo out, the same one who killed the kid. Like, what are y'all talking about? Of course, if they didn't even want to give y'all hoes these weapons in the first place, but of course, if they're gonna be sending vibranium out, they need a way to disable that shit. What are y'all talking about? It would be dumb as hell for them to just be like, yeah, girl, take these weapons that you can use against me. And literally, I'm sure they happy they had the goddamn failsafe, because Bucky was literally trying to fight that. Like, I hate that shit. They will do that shit. Y'all pick and choose though, because y'all be worshiping Batman's fucking failsafes, bitch. Oh my God, that boring ass bitch. Y'all be worshiping the fuck out of his fail-safes, bitch. But Wakanda can't have theirs, y'all will be okay. Bitch, what Iggy Azalea say? Little John Walker walking down the street. He got blood on his shield after he got his ass beat. So real quick, I want to talk about Usher. I'm not sure if you saw this, but apparently somebody went up there on Instagram and say, oh my gosh, Usher came to the club, and instead, basically, I'm just paraphrasing, y'all already know. Instead of giving us actual coin and money, bitch, Usher was in here throwing these dollar bills with his face on it, these fake ass dollar bills. Bitch, the internet took that shit and ran, bitch. And the shit was fun. I ain't gonna lie, the shit was funny. I was cackling, bitch. They was on social media calling these dollars Ushbucks. And them girls said Ushbucks, them girls said Raymond Racks. I fell the fuck out at the Red Lobster, bitch. And to me, I was just like, honestly, when these kinds of things happen, I'm just like, I kind of took it with like a grain of salt, because I'm like, if you're the type of person who does this shit, that shit would be rumors all throughout the industry. You know what I mean? I don't feel like if you're gonna do that shit, it would be a one-time thing. Like, bitch, if you used to gooping hoes like that, going to strip clubs and tossing fake money, that would be something that you have done consistently, or we would have heard about that shit. You know what I mean? So it later came out, the strip club said, I don't even know the name of the goddamn strip club, but the strip club said, hey girl, like, stop spreading these fake ass shits around. Yes, Usher did use these Ushbucks. They didn't say Ushbucks, but bitch, that shit's funny. Yes, Usher did use these dollar bills to promote his album, but he was in there throwing real money, and he actually was giving generous tips and shit. So he said, they was just like, bitch, stop lying on Usher's name. If I was the owner of that club, bitch, I'd be like, yeah, you hoes need to stop playing with his name, because Usher need to come back and give us some more money. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I feel like I'm jumping to so many different topics in one video, but I wanted to discuss the Johnson & Johnson vaccine real quick, because I feel like the anti-vaxxers are going to pick this shit up and run with it. And I want to say this, I got the Pfizer shot already. I'm gonna take the second shot on the last week of April. So yeah, I'm just saying, you know, I already got my shit, but I wanted to discuss this Johnson & Johnson shit so that maybe if you're kind of confused about what's going on, like bitch, you talking about blood clots and shit, we can clear that shit up. So from my understanding of doing the research, apparently they had from 6 to like, I think 13 days after the Johnson & Johnson injection, some woman, like 6, people saying it's like less than 1 in a million chance, but like they're saying that some women between the ages of 18 to 48 were experiencing like issues with blood clotting. And they're suggesting that because it was only women, and they call them childbearing age or whatever, they're saying because it's only women, it probably has to do with hormones and the way that they interact with Johnson & Johnson. But they're saying, you know, that if you got Moderna or Pfizer, you really don't have shit to be worried about, because if there were issues, we would have seen this shit already. But yeah, Miss Johnson & Johnson. Now let me tell you something about Johnson & Johnson. Of course, if that's the only vaccine you have access to, that's the only vaccine that you have access to, right? You know, so we have to put that out first, that some protection is better than none. But Johnson & Johnson initially came on the scene with 70% efficacy. So we was already like, you know, it was like, you know. So then for them to have these problems, the FDA was just like, girl, just pause them fucking vaccines. We need to figure out what the fuck going on with this shit before we continue distributing that shit out. But yeah, as for Moderna and Pfizer, them girls are like, that's okay. But Johnson & Johnson, of course they're saying it's extremely rare, but they still want to check this shit out. So that's what's going on. Please, when y'all doing this shit, do your research, because it's important, and I'm tired of this goddamn pandemic. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it! Since I'm going to be talking about police and what's been going on in the headlines and these robot dogs and shit, let me just touch on one thing politically real quick. Matt Gaetz. And the reason why I'm so invested in seeing Matt Gaetz' downfall is because he says a whole bunch of crazy, dumb, bigoted ass shit. We already know that shit. But like, I remember during some of these hearings in Congress how much of a smart ass he was. Like how much of an asshole he was. And so to now see him scrambling all over the place, bitch. Matt Gaetz, they say he been doing all type of shit with underage girls, paying them for sex and all type of shit, bitch. So bitch, tell me why I read this headline that says that Matt Gaetz had apparently requested a meeting with Trump, bitch. I guess, I don't know, maybe he think Trump has some type of political power that he can use to save his ass from all this shit. Trump denied that shit! Trump denied that meeting, bitch. Do you know how fucking sick he must be? You know how sick Matt Gaetz must feel now, bitch? You did all this fucking, you know, you did all that shit for Trump, bitch. And he said, guess what? I see you going through your bullshit, bitch. But I already got, Trump must be like, bitch, I'm already on the fucking chopping block. What the fuck you want me to do, bitch? They coming after me. So I thought that was crazy, thought that shit was funny. Matt Gaetz is literally going to be escorted to the gates of Tartarus by his own government. Can you imagine being a part of the government and the government takes you, away? Okay. So, I want to talk about these robot dogs that these police officers and shit are using. Now, as soon as I saw these robots start to get more, you know, agile and shit, I think I seen one, I don't know if it was at a university or something, I think I seen one do some tricks and flips, bitch. That bitch did a somersault or some shit, a robot, bitch. I said, bitch, they're going to send these hoes after us, bitch. We're going to be doing track and field, running away from me, goddamn, you know, build a bot ass, you know, Pepsi can ass, Tin Man ass, toaster oven ass, NutriBullet ass, you know what I mean, air fryer ass, bitch. I was like, as soon as I saw that shit, I was like, yeah, the military and the police are going to hop on these robots and they're going to be standing up in people's houses, bitch. Look at this shit. And I know that they've been using robot dogs, but I think this clip kind of went viral on social media and it had a lot of people talking. I know that they've been using it, like I said, but this shit is kind of crazy as fuck to me. Like, it's crazy. And the reason why I think it's so wild is because, you know, this is in New York City, right? That video was in New York City. We already know, bitch, crumbling ass subways in fucking New York City, bitch. Everywhere, though, it's crumbling infrastructure, non-existent infrastructure in the United States. I mean, fucked up ass roads and bridges, fucked up ass healthcare. I mean, but they got robot dogs and they got Tesla ass cars that they driving around here. I think, and then someone said, you know what, while y'all are doing all this shit, spending money on robot dogs, bitch, 1 in 10 New York City students are apparently experiencing homelessness. And I was like, what the fuck? So I had to read that shit up. More than 114,000 students were homeless in New York City in the last academic year. Put another way, that's 1 in every 10 children in the city's public schools, according to a report from Advocates for Children. Randy Levine is the policy director at Advocates for Children, and they say over the past decade, the number of New York City students who are homeless has increased by 70%. This past year, we did see an increase about 0.5 percentage point, but the number has remained stubbornly high, tipping 100,000 for the 4th consecutive year. So listen, people are struggling in the streets, but listen, they got these robot dogs, bitch. Billions of dollars going to police departments. And like I said on my podcast on patreon.com/AsianExpression, like I said on my podcast, I saw that some police departments in this country have more of a budget than entire armies of other countries, like of whole countries. So it's just like, while the people's quality of life is just disintegrating, you have this other side of the country, this military side, this police side of the country, that is just being built up. And they are abusing, like they always have. They have been abusing their power. I'm sure you've seen that whole thing with Daunte Wright and how I have not watched the video. I have definitely read about it. I do not want to see that shit. Kim Potter is the officer there who shot him. He ended up dying at the scene. And the first thing that the police department came out here and said was, oh girl, you know, she did not realize that she was holding a fucking gun. You know, she mistook the gun for a taser or some shit. And even in the video, apparently, she's saying, oh, taser, taser, taser. And then she said, holy shit, I shot him. And I'm just like, ma'am, you've been on the fucking force for 26 goddamn years. And you mean to tell me, this is what you're telling me, that you don't know the difference between a goddamn taser and a goddamn gun? Isn't a taser, first of all, isn't a taser bright ass yellow? Isn't a taser extremely light compared to a fucking Glock? What the fuck are y'all, what the fuck are y'all talking about? You bitches, as soon as you bitches step in the fucking police academy, you bitches are in the gun range, bitch, you trained on firearms. That's your fucking job. What do you mean you confuse a heavy ass, dark ass Glock for a light ass, you know, traffic sign ass, bright ass taser? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And so it's just like, bitch, you bitches are lying to our faces. And even if you're not, there is no excuse for that type of incompetence. I've seen so many nurses and shit make social media posts, you know, medical professionals. They're like, bitch, if I mess up somebody's medication and they die, I can't just say oopsies and that's it, bitch. I'm going to jail. Like, I'm gonna be sued for malpractice. I'm going to jail, bitch. It's just crazy. And I told myself, like, bitch, you don't need to look at all these goddamn headlines all the time. But that shit was crazy. I have been like really holding off on reading so many of the stories because there's so many. I feel like it's getting more frequent. I don't know if it's because they're just being reported more or what, or they're happening more frequently, but it doesn't feel good. And I saw someone tweet, I forget who it was, they were like, you know, obviously we hate when, you know, the police act like judge, jury, and executioner because it fucks up communities and families, but also, you know, every time it's reported, it feels like it's getting closer and closer to you. I forget who said the shit. I definitely saw it somewhere on Twitter, but I'm like, yeah, that's so true. That is so true. Or closer to your family. Like, bitch, it's just crazy to live in this kind of world where somebody could call you and be like, hey, guess what? It struck, like, your sibling, your mama, your auntie, your brother. Like, I personally think that if inequality continues to spiral out of control, if wages continue to be shit, if, you know, police continue to act like they are gods walking among men, it's just, it's not gonna be pretty. It's like, what are the next 10, 20 years gonna look like? Hate it. On that note, cutie pies, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me rant. Thank you so much to all the patrons who have signed up. It means the world to me. Hopefully you all are enjoying the extra goodies, the extra content, the podcast, all that shit, advice columns, all that shit. Love you all so much, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening. I always got the nigga begging for just one kiss. I know your nigga wanna take a bite of this. I always got the nigga begging.